How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. As always, if you enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. That helps out, means a ton. You guys get plenty of fun stuff, not just Jujutsu Kaisen. We cover plenty of manga on the channel, so stick around, check it out, see if anything else catches your interest. But with that being said, we got to get into it because we're finally getting back to the Curse Technique tournament on the channel, and we finally have Group C today. I know we took, I don't even know when I put out the last Group B video. I don't even know. Been too long, but we're finally back. And for Group C, I think one of the matches is, well, it's probably the biggest bloodbath slash blowout that we're going to have in the entire, well, at least first round. I don't know how things are going to shake out next round, but we'll see when we get there. Anyway, for the blowout, we have the 10 Shadows technique versus the Miracles technique. Now, I know you're saying, sitting there, hold on, wait a minute. The two people that used those techniques actually met each other in the series, and well, 10 Shadows had to bring out Mahoraga, like it had to bring out the big boy. Yeah, the user of 10 Shadows in the series, Megami, had been through a lot so far by the time he had met the user of Miracles. I always forget that guy's name. I even made a video on him. Can't remember. Doesn't matter. Either way, as a quick reminder before we get into it, the reason this is going to be a blowout is because these are not Megami and the other dude using these techniques. These are given to random nameless fighter A and nameless random fighter B. These fighters have the exact same physical stats. They're just as good at fighting, just as good at cursed energy control. Everything is exactly even, but they have different curse techniques. So, when you put 10 Shadows user and Miracles user on the same scale, is anybody really sitting here thinking that the 10 Shadows user is going to have a hard time killing the Miracles user enough times to where they run out of Miracles? Even if it's like 10, 15 times, I'm still pretty sure the 10 Shadows users got it. And I don't think it's anywhere near that many times. What does the guy in the series have? Like 6 little lines under his eyes, and those little lines determine their amount of miracles? Now, it might not be 1 miracle per line, but still, either way, I don't care. You summon like 4 Shikigami, one being the dogs, another being like Nue, and another being the snake. Okay? Like, we don't even have to give the 10 Shadows user, like, Max Elephant. Now, that brings up a thought. If they do have Max Elephant, and if they do have Mahoraga, I don't care what the Miracles user has. They're donezo. But, leave it to, like, the big snake, Nue, the dogs, maybe a toad. Miracles user's done. Like, what are they actually going to do against all of these Shikigami? Their curse technique literally just stops them from dying. Okay, you're gonna get your ass saved like 6 times in a row before a dog comes and swipes your entire head off of your shoulders. Good job. So yeah, unfortunately for Miracles, this first round, in my eyes, is pretty much a bloodbath, and it's done. 10 Shadows, moving on to the quarterfinals. Next, however, we are going to have Cursed Speech versus Love Rendezvous for this final match of Group C. Now, yeah, this is actually kind of a little bit interesting, and I'm kind of glad Love Rendezvous got picked because it's a rather new curse technique that we haven't seen a ton of, or at least it hasn't been around for very long. Cursed Speech, on the other hand, being one of the first ones we ever got introduced to all the way back in the prequel manga. Now, an interesting question that I actually want to raise for everybody when it comes to this fight is Love Rendezvous marks cursed energy and stops it from proceeding towards the next mark, if you want to say. So, Cursed Speech infuses cursed energy into words, into sounds, and those sounds then travel towards the target and cause that command to be, well, carried out at the basis level. Anyway, so if you're marked by Love Rendezvous and your cursed energy cannot travel towards the user of Love Rendezvous, does Cursed Speech just completely get stopped in its tracks if the user is marked? If so, this is 100% not going to go well for the Cursed Speech user. This is a, I don't know, outlier on the rules that we don't really know about. So I'm going to say that the Cursed Speech user can still project their speech toward the Love Rendezvous user, but the Cursed Speech user obviously will not be able to move toward the Love Rendezvous user. That's kind of just obvious. That's how the curse technique works in general. But unfortunately for Cursed Speech, I think either way, even if they are able to yell at the person that they're not able to move toward, I don't know if it's really doing a whole lot. We do know that if you can't hear the Cursed Speech user, if you cover your ears, you are pretty much okay. It's been stated, I'm almost 99.99% sure, that curse speech is actually much more effective against curses more often than not, because curses don't know, like, oh, it's a curse speech user. They don't know to do that. It's just a curse trying to kill stuff, and it's like, what did he say? And then it's dead. So yeah, against people that know how to close their ears and fight against a curse speech technique user effectively and properly, it's a little bit more difficult. This is actually why during the Kyoto Sister School event, we saw Inumaki doing things like grabbing one of the Kyoto School person's phones, calling one of their teammates, and then talking through the phone. The person didn't see it coming, they didn't know it was Inumaki talking to them, so they didn't know that they had to cover their ears. So you have to find interesting workarounds like that when it comes to fighting a person who knows what to do. So you really are at a severe disadvantage when fighting another person compared to fighting another curse. With this being said, if Love Rendezvous can stay at a distance just because that's what their curse technique does, we also know they can mark random little objects and have those objects literally hurled at people at very high speeds, like whole parking blocks. You just put the little star's name on a parking block, the parking block raises up like Jesus and just hurls itself at somebody. What is stopping them from just doing that the entire time while the curse speech user just sits there and yells at them, trying to get them to hear something? You can say, well, what if the Love Rendezvous user has to physically touch something with their hand to mark it? I hate to break the curse speech user's bubble, but I can touch things with one hand and cover both my ears at the same time. I know, it looks really dumb. You probably don't want to fight like this, but gotta reach down and touch something. You can still cover both your ears. It's really not that difficult. Now that I can stop doing that, stop making myself look like a complete idiot, thank God, not that I don't do it all the time anyway, yeah, there's things that the Love Rendezvous user can do to avoid just even hearing the curse speech in the first place, so that really gives them a huge advantage. Now, I wouldn't say this is a 10 out of 10 Love Rendezvous always wins. If you mess up as the Love Rendezvous user, and if that rule that I talked about earlier where the curse speech literally can't move forward, if that doesn't exist, and if you mess up as the Love Rendezvous user, you're done. Like, if you give a curse speech user just a little bit of an opening, they can take you out by simply telling you to go to sleep, and then it doesn't really matter what your curse technique is unless it's still active while you're passed out. Otherwise, they're just going to walk up and stomp you out while you're sleeping, and then there they go, they win the fight. So yeah, I definitely think this could be a good matchup depending on how things go, but I think more often than not, as long as both people have their shit covered and don't mess up, I think the Love Rendezvous user is going to go ahead and get the win here. So they will get to move on and have the pleasure of facing the 10 Shadows, which I actually think is kind of interesting. No, I didn't do this on purpose, because that is the only technique we've actually seen Love Rendezvous actually fight in the series. It was a fight between Love Rendezvous and 10 Shadows. Now, in the series, 10 Shadows won, but Megumi is a little bit of a genius. So, maybe it won't happen the exact same way in the Curse Technique quarterfinals. So yeah, this is how things are going to shake out going forward. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. I'm out.